streaming. And, whoops. And the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels, Rime of the Frostmaiden. I'm Christiana Ellis. I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Lee Burdett as Iggy.
Hey.
David Archambault as Wilfred Cole.
Hello.
Jason Banks as Rowan Gregor.
Hello, guys.
Paul Weimer as Aule.
Salve.
And Nobilis Reed as Marcher Northwind.
Greetings.
So, we are here tonight to continue our campaign of Wizards of the Coast's Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. And so, who would like to talk about what happened last time?
Well,
A bunch of things happened.
we went to Tourmaline, and we brought the 3 kobolds in a trench coat that we've been carrying with us all along to the mine that had been taken over by kobolds. And with their help, and with some draconic assistance from Aule and Marcher, managed to negotiate an agreement between the humans and such who had originally operated the mine and the kobolds to work the mine rather than wandering the wastes, which they had been doing before. And we got paid, which is, I think, the first time we've gotten paid so far. I think.
Actually gotten
Yep.
paid, yes.
Yes, this is the
As
first
opposed
time.
to
Yeah.
things being stolen on this.
Yes, so that's an accomplishment. That's a first.
Yeah.
And then we decided to go off after another one of our quests, was to recover a sledge full of iron that was lost halfway between the Dwarven Valley and Bryn Shander. And we managed to locate it, only to find that it had been dragged away by goblins and was in the process of being hauled toward a really scary-looking chariot that was pulled by polar bears.
Yes.
And we're not being in the mood to fight a couple of polar bears at second level. We have devised various plans to be able to steal the sledge out from under the goblins' noses, and not get attacked by polar bears, hopefully. All our fingers are crossed. Did I miss anything important?
The haunted backpack
Satchel.
satchel.
Whatever thing
Thank you. The
was.
haunted
Yeah.
satchel.
Oh, yeah. One of the goblins who had been very eloquent while he was in the mine, suddenly, and who had this strange satchel with him, suddenly became not so eloquent anymore, and the satchel went missing. So we figure that this possessed satchel is now somewhere in the town of Tourmaline, and we kind of warned the speaker that there was something up with that, but that not our problem anymore, and left town.
Yeah.
Unkind but not untrue.
And then probably for Wilfred, it was notable that he received a grudging attaboy from his sister, who reluctantly admitted that he did a good job in helping to clear the mine she owned.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Yeah. So, but as we resume our adventure here, let's discuss the tactical situation presently. You observed 6 goblins dragging the dwarves' sled. They're managing it as they go, but they don't seem happy about it. They're all dressed in their own winter gear with snowshoes and everything. But they are so kind of, frustrated with dragging the weight of this sleigh and also just bickering amongst themselves that they're not paying very close attention. You spotted them when you were 120 feet away from them. 120 feet further on from them is that big wagon that we just discussed. And spotted on that wagon over from a distance, there is clearly a goblin that looks like their boss, who's got a hawk on her shoulder. There seem to be 2 other goblins hanging around by that big wagon, and there are 2 unhappy looking polar bears hitched to the wagon as well. And so right now on this map, I've got you not quite 120 feet away from the goblins, but that's partly because I imagine that you will be approaching the goblins shortly. So let's discuss what your plan is, and then when appropriate, we will roll initiative.
Okay, well, the plan as I kind of laid out last time was that Marcher was going to run up and be the one to grab the sledge and pull it back, and you guys were to take care of the goblins and kind of clear the way for him to grab the sledge and run away.
And
And
yeah,
we'd
prevent
also-
from getting close enough to those polar bears and those
Right.
other forces.
Right, and we'd also picked out an area of heavy snow to drag the sledge to, with the expectation, which might be wrong, that our sledge and our snowshoes will have an easier time of it than the chariot with its wheels.
Yeah,
So-
you think there is a direction you can go where that will be true. But the other thing to just keep in perspective is that 120 feet is not that far. I mean, on this tactical map, the goblins and the sledge and the wagon are 120 feet apart. So, if
Yeah.
you get up to where the sledge is right now with the iron, you're not that far away from
No,
them.
yeah.
But
This is-
if it comes to a chase, you know which way to go, where you will be entering territory that favors you.
Right. That's the idea. Is that where we are on the map there, or is that just a
Well,
representation?
right now, I didn't make the map big enough for you to be
Okay.
a further 120 feet back,
Okay.
but it depends on where you guys want to be.
Okay.
I assumed that you would be approaching the sled, and that's why I have put
Yeah.
you up here in the corner for now.
Yeah. We're going to. I think the time is of the essence. The longer we wait, the closer that thing will be to the polar bears. So we need to charge in right away.
Yep.
All right, so you're all just running at them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's
Speed
roll
is-
initiative
speed is
then.
life.
I'm not gonna just run up. I will definitely want to try to stay at range and at least try to wing.
Well,
the,
so you guys tell me at what distance you will take your first action.
I would like
120 feet.
I'm gonna.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that, but the downside will be you are the only one that can attack from that range, and what you will do is
Well-
make it so that you alert them to everyone else's presence long before they can help with the fight.
that's why I was thinking. Like Wilfred has a crossbow.
Mhm.
If I can get to 80 feet, then I can attack it without disadvantage.
Yeah. What's our shortest?
Okay, you guys tell me what you want to
Okay.
do. If Iggy is attacking with Eldritch Blast at 120 feet while everyone is 120 feet away, I will make the map reflect that. Is that what's happening?
Sounds like it.
I think the
What you're guaranteeing is 4 rounds before you can get to the goblins.
Even if we dash.
I mean, unless you're spending, it'll be half that long if you are not doing anything but dash.
Yeah, I think. Well, okay. What I imagined was the Marcher was going to dash the whole distance, and that others would dash along with him until they got within range of their attacks and then start shooting. So maybe we'll spend one round dashing to get to 60 feet and then start there.
All right. I'm going to move all of the rest of this wagon a little down here just to kind of move them further away so that we can better reflect the distance that, so we will assume that 120 feet in front of these goblins is where they are. And I'm going to put you 120 feet from them. So... I think that's about right. Yeah. All right. So, you guys tell me what you're doing. Is Iggy doing Eldritch Blast from this distance? If so, that's fine. Let's roll initiative.
I will, unless somebody stops me.
Yeah, I would prefer to attack from range at this point.
Well,
That's-
yeah, there's
Go
attacking
ahead.
from range, and then there's attacking from range. Let's
Uh-huh.
let's run forward for one round. Okay, Iggy, when they notice us coming, then start shooting.
Okay.
Everyone roll for initiative, please.
Okay, I have.
Okay.
I've entered it.
All right.
Mine's in.
Yeah.
All right. You got yours, Rowan? There we go. All right. The goblins have not noticed you. So you get a surprise round. Decide how you're using it. The hawk is not participating in the surprise round. Wilfred, you are up first.
Okay.
Unless we want to just say that Iggy just fired off an Eldritch Blast without waiting to discuss it further, and that would be the thing that starts it all.
Get right.
I mean,
For sure.
it kind of sounded like that was what was
Yeah.
happening. All right, so let's say that.
Okay.
We'll come back
Let's
to
just roll
initiative
with
in a
that.
moment. Iggy, roll your attack.
That is a 17.
17, I believe, does hit a goblin. Yeah.
And I figured like the back one on the north side.
Okay. Roll your damage.
Okay, 6.
Okay. You he is knocked forward with a cry of dismay as he is clearly very shaky but not off his feet. He cries out in alarm. And so now we're in initiative proper. Wilfred.
Okay. Gonna. Green. Do that, then take a shot with my crossbow.
Okay.
Not within 80 feet. But
Nope. So it'll be with disadvantage.
Yep.
Which one are you attacking?
Bottom back.
Okay. Technically, you're surprised, so it actually will cancel out the.
Oh.
You know what? Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that would be a 15.
Okay. 15 just hits. Are you attacking
Two
the
damage.
same one that Iggy did, or no?
No.
Okay.
The basically rear at the bottom.
All right. So yeah, he grasps his shoulder as a bolt sinks into it, startling him. Ale.
Okay, I am moving 30 feet, and I am shooting my crossbow at the one that Iggy did.
All right.
That's a 16.
16 hits. And he only has 1 hit point, so he'll just
So
die.
I kill him.
Yeah.
That's my turn.
Okay, Rowan.
Well, I'm gonna take a so we block that one's down, and then the one on the bottom. Which one was it that
Bottom
Well,
left.
it's the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, that back one.
then I'll take a shot at that one.
Okay. What weapon are you using?
My
Are you-
longbow.
Okay. So I think you wouldn't have disadvantage at this range anyway then, so
Oh.
you have advantage on your attack.
It's 150 range. 150.
Yeah. So you have advantage on the attack because he doesn't. It's a surprise round.
Does 16 hit?
Yes.
Sweet.
That's one of the wonderful things about a longbow.
8 points.
Okay. You kill him.
Nice.
Good, good, good. Less people pull, slower that thing moves.
Yeah. Are you moving?
Let's see. Yeah, I'm over there.
All right. Marcher.
I am bellowing at the top of my lungs and running forward. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60.
Where the Goliath?
And shouting something in Draconic. I don't know what it is. He'll have a battle cry at some point, but I don't know what it is yet.
All right. Iggy.
The north wind comes. That's what he said.
There you go. That's pretty good.
All right, so let's see. I don't actually. Let's see. I'll go ahead and get 30 feet closer and fire off another Eldritch Blast.
All right.
Top middle now.
Okay.
And that is 17 again.
All right.
For 8 damage.
Okay. Yeah. That's another one down. All right. So now we are once again at the top of the initiative. They're no longer surprised. So the hawk is not doing anything yet because I haven't been commanded to by the goblin boss. Wilfred.
Six. Move closer. Or another crossbow shot within short range, regular range.
Sure.
But that's a natural one.
Uh-oh. Kapoing.
So that's my turn.
All right. So that makes it Ale, your turn.
Yep, moving up 30 feet and firing the crossbow. But that is a miss at 11.
Alas. All right. Rowan.
I'm going to take another shot at the one on the bottom middle.
All right.
And 15.
A 15 just hits.
Whew. Thankfully. 8 points.
All right. Yeah, that's another one down. All right, and then Marcher, your turn. You're muted.
Yeah, I was just counting out the
Okay.
Still charging forward. I'm gonna glare at that one goblin that's left on that side, and still, and he's got his quarterstaff out, carried two-handed, ready to smack people around the next round.
All right. Okay, Iggy.
All right, I am going to stay where I am because I am squishy.
All right.
And Eldritch Blast, the one right in front of Marcher.
Okay.
Oh, that one misses 9.
Alas. All right. So, yeah, at this point, the polar bears are also still kind of unaware of what's going on. Both of the goblins are going to take the hide action to hide behind the sled. The goblins hide as a bonus action. So let's see. That's going to be an 18 and a 14, respectively.
Were
Which
they shooting at? Who are they shooting at?
They're hiding.
No, they're hiding.
Oh,
they're hiding.
okay.
Those are their
Oh,
stealth
okay.
checks because
Okay.
they're hiding. So basically, unless you have a
Right.
passive perception above 14, you can't see either of them right now
Got it.
behind the sled. One of them is going to fire his short bow at Marcher
Okay.
because he's the big target that's charging and yelling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a 19 to hit for 7 piercing damage.
I will use Stone's Endurance to
Okay.
reduce that damage.
Okay.
Let me quickly roll a d12. That's a 6 plus 2 is 8 points, so it doesn't affect me.
Okay. The other goblin pulls out a horn and goes. Rocket did not like me making that noise.
Aw.
And now you notice looking further ahead that there is now the goblin boss has turned to look through what looks like a spyglass, at the rest of you, alerted to what's going on now. All right, it is the hawk's turn, and the hawk. Let's see, what's their speed? 60 feet. So the hawk, I think, takes off and is flying up and is around. It's like about halfway between the sled and the goblin wagon. Seems to be kind of just scouting. Wilfred, you're up again.
Okay. I do not know where they went.
You can't.
Passive
Yeah, you
perception
can't.
of
You can't
13.
see them from where you are.
But I heard the horn, so I know they're still around somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I think you know where they are. You just don't have line of sight on them.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you saw them duck behind the sled, so it's reasonable to believe that that's where they are still. But you couldn't shoot them with a crossbow because you can't see them.
Gonna go ahead and charge up and dash.
All right.
And that's my turn.
All right. That would make it Aule's turn.
Yep, I can't shoot them, so I'm gonna dash 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my action. Oh, and I'm swapping out crossbow for sword and shield.
All right. Rowan.
So, do I see the hawk take off?
I mean, I think so. I mean, to the extent if you're paying attention, it's not like it's an invisible hawk.
Awesome.
I mean, it's dark, but it's sure.
I'm gonna move up to here.
You know what? Actually, I take it back. Perception check.
Okay.
Because it is dark. And it is 125 feet away still.
It's an 18.
Yeah. So I think you can see it.
I'm gonna shoot that hawk.
All right. It is currently 125 feet away from you. You can't go by the map because it's not quite
that's fine.
representative.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. As long as it's within 150 feet.
Yeah, it is.
Does an 18 hit?
It does. And it only had 1 hit point. So, yeah, it careens out of the sky.
Don't need that scouting.
Yeah. No scout is a good thing. Well, hopefully the goblin boss will be like, we'll take that. So
Yeah.
won't be like, you kill my bird. I will hunt you.
Great.
Yeah. So, Marcher, your turn.
It's the Goblin John Wick.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Gobwick.
Uh,
Nobilis, we can't hear you.
Sorry. I come around the edge of the sledge. Are they still hidden to me when I get?
No,
right
no.
up to
I
them
mean,
with
you can see them there. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything like a rope or some kind of hauling apparatus at the front of the sledge?
Yeah, I think there's like leather straps.
All right. Yeah, I'm second level. I can't let these goblins be there. I'm going to take a whack with my staff.
All right.
There we go. This is a two-handed whack with the staff. Oh, only a 9.
Okay. Yeah, 9 misses. They duck out of the way.
Okay.
All right.
And that's my turn.
Yep. So the goblin boss over there at the wagon is not doing anything as far as you can tell. Like, you can't see them very well at this distance, but they have not moved from their current location. Iggy, you're up.
Okay. I can't see either of the 2 goblins up there,
Nope.
but what I want to do is move kind of obliquely.
Okay. So bear in mind
I-
that the wagon is not here on the map. It is 120 feet further ahead of where the sled is.
Yeah.
Right, but I want to get right about there. I think just to move 60 feet at kind of like an oblique angle,
Okay.
so that if it starts to turn in their direction, I can get line of sight on those polar bears.
Okay. It's not there, though. Where
No,
it is showing on the map is not where it is.
She knows.
Right.
Okay.
I see what she's doing. Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
I just want to put myself in a position where it gets close enough, if it gets in range, that I can fire on the polar bears and maybe dissuade them or upset them enough that they'll drag the chariot off into another direction.
Okay.
Or the
Okay,
boss
I
might
see.
be a good target
Yeah.
too.
All right.
Yeah, either or.
Okay. So you used your action to dash to get to that place.
Right.
All right. The polar bears don't do anything. It is the goblin's turn, and the 2 of them are looking up at you, Marcher, and they go, "Whoa! Whoa! 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 Please stop! Stop! Stop!" And they've got their hands up.
Okay.
Wilfred, your turn.
They said that in common?
Yes.
Okay.
Ah, dang it.
Wilfred will go up here. Hi.
Tell them to run.
Swap out it for his hammer and say, run while you still have a chance.
All right.
Is that a check? Or,
No. No, you say that. They
Um,
literally have their hands up in surrender.
Yeah.
But it's
So-
not their turn. They can't do anything. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what you do.
Holding an attack if they decide to attack someone.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Or someone decides to attack.
Yeah. All right. So is anyone else planning to press the attack, or is the plan that you would let them run away?
We're gonna let them. I would let them run away.
Yeah, I'm a paladin. I'm not going to
All right.
kill them in cold blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you do not continue attacking, they absolutely run away. And I think I think they both run for the wagon. One of them gets about halfway there and then just turns and like yells back to you. Is like, "We just found an abandoned sled in the wilderness, you jerks!"
Oh,
You could have said something. And then they keep running.
Oh, now the guilt hits.
well.
Oh, thank you for the new token, by the way, Christiana.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
it looks good. They all look good.
Yeah. So, congratulations. Da-da-da-da-na-na-na-na-na. You have rescued the sled of iron ingots that the goblins found abandoned, and we're gonna not leave in the wilderness.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Does that mean that okay.
I mean, it didn't belong to them. They were technically stealing it, but they,
Yeah.
as far as they were concerned, like it's not like you asked.
Oh yeah.
It's not like you told them to surrender it.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is that the wagon and the polar bears don't give pursuit when we drag the
No,
sled.
no. The goblins at the sled run to the wagon. They get on the wagon, and the wagon leaves.
Okay. All right.
Little did we
That
know.
went better than we could expect it.
That plan worked,
Yeah.
and it worked the way we planned it.
No, I mean,
How is this happening?
right?
Twice. It happened that way twice. Because
Yes.
remember, it was with the hag in the cauldron. So twice. Plans have worked
Yeah.
twice.
Oh, and the idea of bringing the kobolds and having them, talk to their friends, that also worked.
Yeah.
3 times.
This is such incredible luck.
Yeah, everything will go downhill from here. It's obvious.
We
I
have
knocked
to
on the-
hold on to the luck. Nobody change your clothes from now on.
Is there any lid on the sled? Because I'm gonna knock on it and be like, "Yeah, let's hope so."
No, it's open on top. It's got a dusting of snow that looks like it was brushed away, perhaps by goblin hands. But otherwise, it would seem to be 600 pounds of iron ingots sitting on a sled.
All right, let's get this to Bryn Shander.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I think we might be better off if we go toward the road first. And then
Bearing
take
in
it on the
mind
road.
that you found this already at the end of your traveling day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
we need to
so
jump out
right
again.
now, pretty much to go any further would be entering forced march territory.
All right.
I
If the goblins have retreated, then
Yeah, they have left your line of sight. And the other thing is too that even though some of you might feel a little bit of like, well, you didn't really give them an opportunity to negotiate before you just opened fire, you also know that the truth is that they probably would not have been willing to negotiate until you demonstrated that you were going to kill them all. So
yes, and
they
and
absolutely
furthermore,
would
they
have fought you for it, except that you had already demonstrated you were going to win. So yeah.
Yeah.
so.
But they did not want to give their lives for it.
My only problem with camping here, and maybe not at least getting back to the road before we do any such thing, is that they were attacked by Yetis.
yes, that is on my mind.
So
I'm thinking that at least getting back to the road would be a good idea. Even if how many hours was it to get here?
It was 8 hours over the tundra from Tourmaline.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we can hack that.
All right, I think we better just fortify ourselves and
And I mean, honestly, it's been a longer than 8 hour day because the day also included the 3 hours that you hunkered down under the blizzard.
but that wasn't traveling time. So.
Right.
I was saying can we basically move far enough away from the bodies that they
Aren't attracting scavengers.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And maybe pile some snow up around the sled so that it's disguised from a distance as a snowbank.
I mean, sure.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
sounds reasonable.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll take the first watch because I feel like just in case we should at least have a small watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We're not all gonna go sleep. No.
Right.
No.
Because there was one thing under the blizzard where you kind of all just got out of the wind and everything, but it's maybe something else. Like
Yeah.
now, even if you're making snow caves, the question is, like, because there's no making a fire.
Yeah.
So anyone who's out on the watch, not moving around, is probably going to have not a super fun time. But it's up to you guys how you want to handle that. I am going to need the party to roll a d8 for me.
Do
All of
that?
us or one of us?
One for the party.
I'll roll it.
Okay.
4.
All right. Okay, and now because of that roll, someone roll a d20, please.
I'll roll that one.
Shouldn't have rolled that one.
How many
And I
Yeti
got
attacks?
a 4. I got a 4.
Okay. So as you are, you move a little ways away from where the original attack was, because of course, do you go back for the dismembered corpse of the dead dwarf back at the original site?
No, that's not part of the contract.
Understood. I'm just asking. So in any case, though, you also move it a little ways away from where you fought the goblins, just, almost out of just a sense of aesthetic taste as much as anything, I think.
Yeah.
But then what? You kind of all dig some new snow caves, and Rowan's taking first watch?
Yes.
All right. So everyone else is kind of settled into caves, the snow caves, and I would imagine that you could use like lanterns would provide like a little bit of extra warmth, but mostly what you're dealing with here is just, you create that insulated layer of snow that you then, like layer with your bedroll and everything, so your body is not right on the snow, but then it's your own body heat that heats that pocket of air in there. So that is how you don't freeze to death. Does not mean that it's warm. So
Everybody except Alla and I.
yeah. Well, and I think even for you, it's a case where it's like,
It's still
I think,
uncomfortable.
yeah, like it's for example, it's like a cold winter's day when you live in a place where it gets cold, right? Like
It's Minnesota. It's like living in Minnesota and dealing with the cold. Yeah,
Right,
we're
yeah.
dressed and ready for it, but it's not happy-go-lucky.
Right, yeah, like it's
Yeah.
like you are used to it. You kind of know how to deal with it. It's not unfamiliar. That does not mean that you don't feel cold.
Yeah.
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 But nonetheless, I think some of you who are less used to that probably have a much harder time. And then, of course, whoever's on watch, which is Rowan first, it's probably harder because it's not trivial to make a fire here unless you're carrying around firewood. And I'm not sure you want to do that anyway because it would stand out like a beacon on this otherwise wide open tundra at night, right?
Yeah.
So when you are not currently marching across in snowshoes, it's probably pretty cold. So the wind is kind of blowing and, not like a blizzard, but there's a breeze, and you look up, and you're kind of just looking at the stars. And what are you thinking about, Rowan, as you're kind of you're reflecting on like this, this victory over the goblins today, your adventures with this group so far? What are you thinking?
This is probably the most unique guiding job I've taken. And I cannot wait to get back and tell this to my mom. I feel like at this point, I have an actual adventuring story I can tell to go along with my mom's stories. I feel like for now, it's almost like a rite of passage kind of thing. Like she's told me all these stories about her times and everything. Like I actually have one now. It's a little wonky, but I got one.
All right. So, as you are, as you're kind of having your watch, you realize that it's getting close to midnight, and so something that you have certainly seen before, because it happens every night now at midnight for the last 2 years. But you look up across the sky and you see the aurora, the multicolored ribbons of energy trailing across the sky, and realize that the aural is once again casting this spell that keeps the winter here. But it's beautiful in its own harsh way. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying, kind of mumbles to himself, something so beautiful has never been so menacing to see.
So you're looking up at that for a little while until you kind of have absorbed what you can from watching it, and as you lower your eyes back down to the horizon, you see something again, which is what looks like a humanoid figure in the distance, but where its face would be is just blinding light coming out of it. It's clearly like 500 feet away or more, but like there's no other light out here except for the waning moon, and so it stands out on the tundra, and it's not moving. You just see it standing there.
I definitely recognize this, don't I?
Well, it is very similar, at least, to one that you have seen before.
I'm going to keep my eyes on it, but I will ready my bow, but I'm not going to make any sudden movements. I'm just going to try to keep my eyes on it. Seeing as the last time I saw it, it did not approach us.
Right. So it just stands there. It does not approach. It's eerily motionless. And it stays there for a couple of hours. Who's taking the next watch?
I think that Marcher would, with the assistance of somebody else in the party.
And I think I should take third watch. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wilfred will join
Right.
Marker.
okay.
So Rowan, this figure remains there, but as soon as your attention is distracted by Marcher coming out to take the next watch, when you go to point it out, it's gone.
This is the second time that's happened. You guys need to be wary. This is the second time I've come across something like this. I describe it. It's the size of a man, but it has a white face, and it's unnaturally still. It's watched me once before when I was guiding our friends here through the pass, but it's never approached.
And let me be clear: the face is light. It's like there's light shining out like a beacon from the face.
And in all my travels, I've never heard of or seen anything like this. And I've taken the time in our travels recently to ask about it, and no one has seen anything of that nature. So I don't know if it is something associated with what is caused this eternal winter, seeing as it has happened during that time when generally near when the the aurora happens. So I don't know if it's associated with that or what, or if it's just looking for some unsuspecting prey. But once can be a coincidence, but twice, especially out here when no one else knows we're here, I don't take too kindly to that.
Marcher, you can make I guess, a history check, or a survival check. I guess would also work, just to see if you even know anything about this sort of entity. Nobilis is off camera, so perhaps that we can come back to that then in a moment.
Did Wolford see that the first time, or
No, it was
Because
it happened it happened when I was on watch the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, and like it disappeared before anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in any event, Marcher takes watch, and nothing really of note happens. Ale takes third watch. Is that?
Yep.
And likewise, there is no further eventful, events. So everyone can go ahead and get their long rest.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And so now you have a new day ahead of you. It is now the 2nd of Marpanoth. Moving into, autumn. Technically, Marpanoth is kind of like the equivalent of October, sort of. And we are 3 days past the full moon.
Okay, so how long will it take us to get back to the road?
So the road, if you go straight to the road, it's 2.5 miles. And so let's see, the on your snowshoes, you would normally go half a mile an hour, but you are going to be moving at half speed approximately right now because you're dragging 600 pounds of iron on a sled, which you are all capable of. It just slows you down.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what that means is that you are going to be 2.5 miles is going to take you pretty much most of the day with the sled. Now, that said, when you get on the road, it's a little faster.
So if we get to the road and then trying to get to Bryn Shander, would that be pushing the
So let's see. So you would be getting to Targos to Tourmaline normally would take 4 hours, and you would be cutting about a third of that off, right? So you would have like 2.5 hours maybe if you weren't dragging a sled. So it would be like another 5 hours if you go that way.
As opposed to going directly across country.
which would
Probably be like 2 days.
Yeah.
That's going to be, so it's about 7 miles directly to Bryn Shander, which
So
again,
14 hours.
it would be 14 hours normally. It's
Yeah.
double that now.
Oh,
Yeah.
28 hours. So
Yeah.
3
3
days.
days.
Yeah.
yeah,
So the road is the faster route.
I think going to the road and then going to Targos would probably be the best option.
I'm just worried about Targos because of the people that are up to no
Zentarum.
good there. Yeah, them.
Oh, we could.
Well,
I mean, we could go take another day in Tourmaline and then go from Tourmaline to Bryn Shander using the road like we did previously.
I mean, for that matter, if you were going to the road, you could still
You can
kind
camp
of
on the
go
road.
around, but yeah, like you don't have to go into Targos necessarily, but it's another night not in a building.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we should either head for Tourmaline, sleep there, and then go to Bryn Shander, or just push, push for the road and then force march it to Bryn Shander. How many? It's
So it's 2.5 miles directly to the closest point of the road right now, which
Right.
would take you essentially 10 hours. Is that what? So it's 2.5 miles. You would be doing normally half a mile. You're basically doing a quarter mile an hour currently while dragging the sled.
okay. Well, then okay. Then Tourmaline is definitely the place that I think we should
Yeah.
go.
So you're going half speed essentially while dragging the sled.
Yeah. Take the sled to Tourmaline and then turn around and go back to Bryn Shander after we've had a night.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a place in Tourmaline we can keep the sled safe.
Probably want to keep a watch on it though, because remember some of the militia are from Tarkos.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And
might
so-
be able to ask the young girl at the inn if she has like a shed or
Outbuilding.
Stable.
building of some sort.
Yes.
All right, I think we have a plan.
All right. So the plan is going straight to the closest point of the road and then using the road to get the rest of the way to Tourmaline for the night.
Yes.
Okay, so that will involve small amount of forced march time, but that's it mostly just means working extra hard, right?
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do here then is first for the party, please roll another d8 for me.
I'll do it. A 2.
A 2. Okay. So you set out. You're pulling the sled behind you. So this is a sled that is designed to be pulled by, humanoids. Like it's a dwarven sled, so like they've made it
Yeah.
kind of ideal for them. But so it doesn't have a harness like you would attach like a horse to it. It's designed so that multiple people grab these leather straps and pull it along that way.
Yeah.
Right.
So there are enough straps for all of you to assist with that if that is what you would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think having one person at least in a position to keep watch behind us would be a good thing.
Iggy?
My perception is not that great.
Well, I'm thinking more strength.
My strength is actually okay. I'm at a 10. So
Wow.
with so I don't.
If
Well,
we're,
it's
worried about if we're worried about someone seeing something or needing, some sort of overwatch, then it probably should be me.
Should be the
Yeah.
range. Let's leave that
Okay.
to the range.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I'm just looking at some wilderness encounters here. All right.
We're not
So,
gonna
okay.
fight
So
a snowy owl bear, are we?
what?
We're not going to have to fight a snowy owl bear, are we?
Well, maybe.
Eventually,
You don't know. That
It's on
reminds
the
me.
cover
let
of
me
the module.
just
Yeah.
just
It's
so that.
inevitable.
No, technically that's the Frostmaiden herself on the cover of the module.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
She has an owlbear face, yeah. Or I guess an owl face. Since the whole thing of an owlbear is that it's a bear with an owl face. So, I guess it technically still is an owlbear face too then, huh?
yeah.
Yes.
So let me, okay, sorry, there was, I just realized there were handouts for those goblins that I could give you. Just for fun, like it's a collectible thing.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah. So technically this is the standard goblin art. But they were in fact wearing, cold weather gear.
Yeah.
Then there's the goblin boss. Oh, there we go. Not a separate handout for the goblin boss. But the polar bear, I think, has one. And then I think, did I give you the, yeah, there's the polar bear. As part of that same art for their goblin wagon.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, as you are making your way through, you know, you do your first half of the day, which, you know, so the first 4 hours you would move a mile essentially. So you're going to get to about there, right? And then you, you know, you're still going, you're making progress. And then I think, who is watching out for, like, stuff that you might encounter?
The ranger.
Yeah.
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 All right. So go ahead and make a perception check, Mr. Ranger.
Don't let us down. Oh no.
Oh no.
I don't like that body language.
Nat 1.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god.
Surprise attack, Iggy dies.
Yeah.
No, we are healing now.
And none of the things that make my perception awesome, such as the additional D4 I can add, helps. When
All right. Well, so what happens here is that you are all kind of you've sort of settled into this trudging forward across the snow, pulling the you know, this sled, and I would imagine, even though you know that the sled is kind of your payday, it's there's still an element of, like, it still sucks to pull it along. You now share some common empathy with those goblins that were cursing their own you know, their own labor before. But as you are pulling it along, eventually several of you kind of start to notice, like, it came on very gradually, but what makes you eventually stop is that those of you with the higher passive perception start to notice that there's vibration coming along the snow, like doof, 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 doof. And you can all make a perception check now that is happening.
do I feel that vibration?
Yeah.
Natural 20.
All right. Yeah.
24.
Yay!
So your failure earlier was only a failure to see this thing a long way off before it was basically coming right up on you guys. So those of you who kind of turn around, and certainly Marcher sees it first, kind of turn, and you realize that approaching your current location, not apparently on a direct, like, it's coming approximately your way, but it's coming from an angle. It's not following, like, directly from where you went. It's not going where you're going, but it's kind of coming from sort of the side, like maybe like 4 o'clock, right? But it is on sort of a general intercept course. What you see emerging sort of from the blowing snow, and you see it relatively well because this is during one of the few hours of kind of twilight. You see a frost giant riding a woolly mammoth.
Oh boy.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Oh boy. Hi. And I kind of tanked it, so I tanked the perception, so it's probably gonna be like, all of a sudden the sled is really heavy and everybody stops. What? Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, the perception is not that important because I think as soon as anyone
Right.
sees it first, probably it brings it to everyone else's attention. But it does seem to be heading in your direction. It's not moving at speed, although just in its own normal standard gait, it is moving relative. Here, let's see.
So what you're saying is
it has a 40 feet movement, so it's moving faster than you, even at its sort of easy pace.
What you're saying is what you're saying is we can't outrun it.
No. Even if we drop the sled, we're not going to outrun it.
Yeah.
I think we just stop and wait for it to approach, unless it looks like it's going to lower its weapons and charge. I don't think we should take out our weapons.
Okay.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think we initiate hostilities.
Yeah,
No,
I agree,
no.
but I also don't think we should stop. We should just keep going. Because if
Okay.
it might be going in our general direction, but if we stop, then it might run us over.
All right, so let's keep going and
But it's
hope that
packed.
it has other business than us.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I think Rowan and Marcher can both make survival checks for me. This is again just to kind of know just generally what you might know about frost giants. History
Nothing,
would
5.
also be okay if you have that. Anyone who has history as a skill can roll that.
Ooh, history.
No idea.
Are giants considered a humanoid?
No,
No.
Their giants are their own category.
15?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So one thing to note when we say giant, like, what do we mean by that? Frost giants are like 25 feet tall. So that means like, you're coming up to like their knee. And it's riding along on this giant mammoth. So what Wilfred, with a 15 is that there are, of course, many different types of giants. It's natural to imagine that frost giants are the kind that would make their home in this sort of a landscape. Frost giants, generally not so nice. They are generally considered evil. That's not to say that they are aggressively malicious to anyone they come across, right? It's mostly just a matter of like they're not nice. So, but that said, they mostly keep to themselves. They're not like constantly marching into 10 towns and demanding tribute or anything like that.
Yeah, that's not. Let's just keep going. Maybe step up a bit. I don't think. Hopefully, it's going to be a case of if we don't bother it, it won't bother us.
Yeah. And this vision is not based on movement.
I doubt that.
It's not a T-Rex.
Would a 19 know if its vision is by movement?
A 19. What skill was that?
It was survival.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Yeah. So, I think what it's giants. Their vision is like your vision. It's not any more based on movement or not as yours is. Like,
No.
so yeah, they like. There's no question that it sees you.
Yeah.
Like,
Now-
unless it was magically blind in some way, it's obvious that it would see you. You guys stand out against the white tundra, right?
So, and with what we generally know about them, they're not maliciously aggressive. Meaning,
right,
generally,
like
they're not hunting down folks. But if you mess with them, they will solidly educate you on why you should not have
yes,
done.
they want what they want, and they will do whatever they feel is necessary to get it. That said, they don't waste their time killing everything they come across just for the hell of it. So if they don't consider you a threat, unless you have something they want, they'll probably leave you alone.
Do I know if frost giants are miners?
I believe that they are, but it's not in quite the same degree as some of the other types of giants.
So I
Mostly,
just-
I think they do somewhat, but it's very sort of basic, like to make weapons and stuff like that. It's not
not
an
an industry
industry.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would agree that we just keep moving. Just I'll keep an eye on it, and we'll just keep on trucking. And
Yeah.
Drag casual.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah, drag casual, but not like creepy casual.
Not too casual.
because maybe this won't go to where we don't want it to go.
All right. So as you are basically trying to just kind of like whistle casually, just leave me alone, Mr. Giant. It's definitely coming closer. Boom, boom, boom. You feel the vibration throughout the whole landscape of every one of these mammoths' huge footsteps, and it eventually sort of pulls up alongside to where it's going like matching your trajectory, and it's clearly looking over down at you from its tremendous height, and it says something to you in Giant in its booming voice. Do any of you know Giant?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do.
The Goliath. No.
Yep.
So I think that what it looks down at you and says is, one handful of that iron will save your lives.
Yes.
Well, how big is the handful? I wonder.
His handful.
His handful, not
His handful.
not
Yes.
Niggy's.
Yes. Yes. I'll tell them. Okay, he wants some of the iron. Just back off.
All right.
How is the iron bundled?
I mean, it's basically like,
Probably stacked ingots.
yeah, it's definitely stacked ingots with just like leather straps holding everything in place.
I'll undo one of the straps in the back section of it, so that he can get his handful easier.
Could we just lay out some and then get it moving?
Well, so is everybody just kind of doing obvious kind of like, all right, nope, you're good, totally fine,
Yeah.
no
Yeah,
objection here.
yeah.
It watches you all do that and then laughs to itself and then just keeps going.
It doesn't take any of the
Yeah,
iron.
no, it just goes. And I think it
Punk us.
mutters something about puny humans in Giant and just keeps going. It's headed. It's headed. Let's see. It was coming from this direction, and it looks like it's headed to go around the western side of the lake, maybe.
Wow.
But yes, it gradually recedes into the distance, having not taken your iron.
You
That
you
was-
were saying before about not changing our clothes anymore. My clothes are now brown.
Okay, forget what I said about not changing clothes.
That was the biggest thing I've ever seen.
Hang around,
think
you'll
I
see
was-
more.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a giant before, even in all my travels. So yeah, that was new.
Right? Like, actually, we have seen a giant skeleton.
Yeah, I mean, you literally fought a frost giant skeleton in that cave.
But a
But-
giant, a living giant astride a mammoth.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
But yeah, so you keep on going, and as you reach your 8 hours of march, you're very close to getting back to the road now. But now for forced march, basically for every hour past, let me actually just double check the rules for forced march because it's always a little bit counterintuitive. Let's see. Oh man, I just like it.
Glad that Frost Giant had a sense of humor.
Yeah. I honestly do not feel bad about falling victim to it.
Yeah.
Oh, not at all.
Okay, hang on. I'll have this in a second.
I think last time we talked about it was it. Yeah, you made the progress, then you made the chat.
Yeah, I believe so. Where's the...
I'll be right back while you look that up.
Okay. I think I always just... Okay. I always just get a little bit, like... Finding it is not the obvious thing because... there we go. Okay. So, for each additional hour of travel beyond 8 hours, the characters cover the distance shown in the hour column for their pace, and each character must make a Constitution saving throw at the end of the hour. The DC is 10 plus 1 for each hour past 8 hours. So what that means is that you, for this first hour past the, everyone makes a Constitution saving throw with trying to beat 11.
14.
23.
13.
All right.
19.
Okay. So I think we'll get Rowan's in a moment. So no one with exhaustion yet for this first time, and so another hour gets you to the road, and let's get another Constitution saving throw this time for 12.
21.
22.
18.
16.
All right, everyone's good so far. Now the plan is getting back up towards Tourmaline, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
essentially, you have 2 more hours to go.
Okay.
And so let's get one more for 13.
19.
15.
7.
So you got it. So
17.
did you say 7, Lee?
I said 7.
All right. So one level of exhaustion for you, which I think for first level of exhaustion is disadvantage on ability checks. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that one too well.
All right. And so then this the last hour will get you to Tourmaline, but we need one more for 14. Because you're all probably feeling very cold and just sort of bone weary.
Oh. 7.
7. Ow.
19 on both.
All right. Oh,
9.
so this is a saving throw, so it didn't need to be at disadvantage for this, Iggy. But
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
like a 3 or 4 is level 3 or level 4 is
Yeah.
advantage on saves.
okay,
Or
so
disadvantage on saves.
yeah, so anyone who failed any of those gets a level of exhaustion for each failure, but you do reach Tourmaline.
Ugh. Failed at the end.
All right.
I'm glad that we decided to come here instead of going all the way to Bridge Shander.
Well, if we had gone all the way to Bryn Shander, like gone straight, or gone a...
At least we only have one level of exhaustion, which we will recover overnight.
Yes. Of course, then we'll have to figure out what Rowan gets.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
we'll deal with that when Jason's able to come back. So
Oh.
I would what?
I think I was thinking about that the ring the innkeeper had.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the item I think it is, it's really useful on sacrifice nights.
Mm.
Well, that's entirely outside of what we're doing right now.
I know. It's just
You are probably correct at what you think the ring is. But yeah, so you all head back to the East Side Tavern, I would guess?
oh yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So I would imagine that you're all just kind of in the mood for just like
Get some food and get to bed.
Food and-
bed. Yeah.
Food,
And,
warm drink, and bed.
yeah.
Yep.
We
Yep.
need to arrange for the sledge.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think that's difficult. There's there's
A stable.
there are stables, but that's places where like you can have animals where they could like get cared for, where that need attention and
Okay.
everything. So like this is just the size of a dog sled, so you can
Oh, okay. I had a much bigger imagine. Okay.
no, no, no.
All right.
But at the same time, the question is, they have a place where you can put it, and you could put like a tarp over it or something. But if you want it to like be literally watched or secured, then that's a little different.
What was the reward we were going to get for this?
I believe that it was a gemstone worth 50 gold for each of you, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Up
right.
to 5, I believe you said.
Yes, that's right.
If I think it's worth the investment if we hire someone to keep an eye on this
Yeah.
and sleep somewhere nearby.
I mean, we
Jason's
could treat
back.
this. We could treat this like being in the field and just set a watch like normally.
Yeah, I think that might be a good idea. Jason, your character needs to make some Constitution
So
saves.
4 hours worth of forced march, which means we need escalating Constitution saving throws. The DC of the first one is 11, then 12, then 13, then 14.
11, 12, 13, 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in that order is the target number you need.
Will not use the one that betrayed me.
Trade.
Ooh. 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 Okay, so that's a 13.
Okay.
That's an 18.
That's a
And what was
14.
the third one?
So it's 11, 12, 13, 14.
Okay, so I beat the 11, beat the 12. Okay, that's a 14. I've not rolled higher. Oh god, it's terrible.
All right.
19.
All right, good. So
Oh.
no levels of exhaustion for you.
Does,
So I think that means you get first watch on the sled.
does
Yeah, but
anybody
someone else has
not have
exhaustion.
Oh, I'm guessing
Not
you
having
guys
fun?
did. It did go so well for you.
well, nobody ended up with more than one level, but several people had at least that though.
We all ended up with one level,
Is that right?
except you.
Okay.
Except
yeah.
you.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that they're basically the Marta Peskrik is the innkeeper there at the east side, and she shows you where there's a spot like out behind the buildings where you can kind of, put it up out of the way where, it'd be sheltered from the wind and it's not obvious to people just coming by. And she's like, that's the most secure place she can think of, short of trying to drag it into like a warehouse behind locked doors or something like that. But if you're going to watch it, that's where she recommends.
Yep, that's what we'll do.
All right. So yeah, she sets you all up, and you're able to, able to get your rooms. Rowan's doing first watch, and everything is uneventful. Who's doing next watch?
I'll take the second watch.
Wilfred will take the third.
All right. Both of you, do your own, your own watches, and there is a point in your watch, Wilfred, where you hear the crunch of footsteps in the snow, which just kind of stands out just because it had otherwise been extremely quiet. But it sounds like just one set of footsteps, and they They pass by. You don't even see them. They're on the other side of the building. It's just that it's otherwise so silent that just someone apparently just walking up the street on the other side of the building is, you just hear their crunch, 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 crunch.
Make note of that, and not gonna try and like sneak around to see, because Wilfred's not a sneaky person.
Yeah. So otherwise, everyone is able to get their long rest.
Yay!
Yay! Bye-bye exhaustion.
Yeah. So yes, clear level of exhaustion is now the 3rd of Marpanoth. 4 days past full moon. Which I'm keeping track of just because there are actually a couple of things that where it matters what the phase of the moon is, and I think it's just kind of neat. I've never done that before in a campaign.
I figured you had a ticking clock of some kind going
Yeah.
on.
Oh, I know
Well,
hearing about sacrifices.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
there is that. The new moon is when all these towns do their sacrifices to the Frostmaiden. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I think there's certain towns where don't necessarily want to be there on a sacrifice days.
Right. So, your travel time to Targos along the road would normally be 4 hours. But with the sled, it would be 8 hours. But that gets you to Targos. And so if you wanted to stay in Targos, there's no forced march. But if you wanted to continue on to Bryn Shander, it would be another 4 hours, because normally it would be another 2 hours on the road.
All right, we did the last one.
Yep.
I think we
Yeah.
do another one.
Okay.
To bypass Targos.
It's either that or we camp on the road. I don't think that's a better option.
Yes, I think we just push on.
I'm wondering actually how dangerous going into Targos would be, since we're not.
They've
going to
already
do
stolen from us once.
600
Okay.
pounds of iron is a tempting target.
And they know who what they stole. They know who they stole it from.
anything. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to be.
I don't plan on setting foot in that city if I can avoid it.
Okay.
I would rather march through the night than go in there.
So what Doc's Rider told you is that as long as you didn't show up and demand things from them, that they would probably leave you alone.
Yeah.
Probably, but they stole the cauldron and we show up with 600 pounds of iron. That's a payday.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's what Doc's Rider told you.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, go to it.
I don't want to give them the temptation.
We go to Bryn Shander. Get the iron where it goes. If it gets stolen from after we hand it over, that's on them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
So let's
one
get
day,
moving.
Marcher, we will go into Targos and clean out that filth and evil.
Well, that's for another day. I think.
That is for another day. That is not today, but that day will come.
Let's keep going.
Yeah. All right. So on the road, you don't have to worry so much about random encounters.
Yay.
Good news.
Yeah. So basically, it is a long day, moving slow, but making progress with the sled. You do your 8 hours of travel and find yourself just outside of Targos, where you can avoid the city walls and just kind of curve on south towards Bryn Shander. But here's where we've got another 4 hours worth of forced march rolls to make. So,
Okay.
so hour 1, everybody makes an 11 Constitution saving throw.
Oh,
Oh, failed that.
I failed too.
Yeah.
Yeah, got a 9.
Got a 7. Okay, one level of exhaustion.
17. I succeed.
Okay. So, hour 2 is 12. It's not at disadvantage just because, that's ability checks, not saving throws, and this is
Made the second one.
Okay.
10.
All right.
8. Yeah.
13.
Okay. Is anyone at 2 levels of exhaustion?
I am.
Yeah? Okay. So at 2 levels of exhaustion, your speed is halved.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Which I think what we could do is I won't slow the whole group down
You could put
if
them.
one person is riding the sled.
Yep.
I was gonna say, we
We're
could
right
put-
in the set. All right.
And so you're halfway there. And if you're riding the sled, you don't make further rolls. But if you need to have two people riding the sled, that's going to slow the whole group down.
Right.
All right, so hour 3.
What's that? 13.
Yeah.
Oh,
I failed
19.
again.
I
Crap.
failed a second time.
Okay.
Oh,
All
boy.
right. So, what that means is that it seems like there's enough of you that failed that fourth hour is now going to be fourth and fifth.
Oh, you vey.
This could be bad.
It's be very bad. We
All
might
right.
push too hard.
Yeah.
We're trudging
And not
through
only
this
that,
now.
if you get to third level of exhaustion, is disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws.
Yeah.
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 So, if you're pressing on,
We have, I think there's not a whole lot of choice.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're almost there.
Yeah.
So
Since we have multiple people that are at half speed,
Mhm.
at speed half, maybe I just help keep the group up. Like, how many of us are at 2?
well, so yeah, so that here's
3 of us.
yeah. So I think what that means is it doesn't make any sense to try to say all 3 of those people ride the sled. So
Yeah.
I think
So
that the
basically,
whole
it's gonna
party is now moving at half speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
But
Next
I
hour.
would say that I would say you can still go at that speed with one person riding the sled. So if you want to say that one of you who has
Who's got the
2
worst Constitution save? Mine's +4.
Excuse me.
Mine's plus
Mine's
one.
+4 as well.
Mine's +1, but I've only got 1 level of exhaustion, so
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pulling.
So I guess I run the sled. I'm on the sled then.
All right,
Yep.
yeah.
Those
So if you're
constitutional
riding the
saves.
sled, you skip the Constitution saving throws. But so let's get one for hour 4. So this is DC 14.
19.
22.
20.
All right. Okay.
You said it was 14?
Yeah.
14, yeah.
Oh, thank God. I rolled an 11 and I have a +3 on con.
All right.
Okay, so we all made it.
Yeah, and then one more because you were at
One-
half speed.
Yeah,
so-
no. What made that one?
Yeah,
Now we got
yeah.
one more.
All right, so this one will get you to your destination, but it's just a question of how exhausted you are when you arrive.
Oh,
We are flat out.
22.
So,
11.
12.
Wow.
okay, so just a reminder: if you ended up with 1 level of exhaustion, that's disadvantage on ability checks. 2 levels of exhaustion is disadvantage on ability checks and speed halved. 3 levels is disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws plus speed halved and disadvantage on ability checks. Did we get anyone to level to 4? Or is it just at 3?
I think it's just 3 for everybody. But what happens at
2.
4?
Okay. At 4, your hit point maximum is cut in half.
Yeah, let's not have that happen.
Yeah.
All right. So we had, So we got a couple of people with 2. So just count off. So Wilfred has 3. Iggy just 1 or 2. Okay.
2.
2, 1. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. So bear in mind, you only clear 1 level of exhaustion with a long rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be resting up in Bryn Shander for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. So, fortunately, so I want to just have everyone imagine this mental picture here for a little bit because Bryn Shander's at the top of a hill.
Oh.
So you're saying this is like my trip to Nepal?
Yeah. So what that means is the home stretch of this journey, when you are at your most exhausted, is the point where you have to drag 600 pounds of iron up a steep hill.
Throw a 20-pound
In the
backpack
snow.
is bad.
In the snow.
Oh, God.
Sounds like a old, something an old cute would say. When I was your age, I dragged 600 pounds of iron up
Both
the
ways.
hill. in the
Uphill.
snow."
Buck naked.
God.
Dwarves are badminton.
Oh.
If we don't get paid for this, there would be blood.
In 2 days, there will
agreed.
be blood because I'm too tired.
We'll kill them later.
There might be
They'll have
blood
a
from-
2-day head start.
All right, so you
Luckily, it is. We are coming into the gate where the inn is.
The North Look Inn is not only where you would be expecting to stay, but it's also where you were expecting to meet your dwarven patrons.
Yes.
So I think you're coming in relatively like into the evening, right? Because it's at the end of an extra long day, and so it's again, just as far as the mental picture, all of you dragging your feet, exhausted. Every step is a burden. And then you open the door to the North Look, and it's a bunch of people drunk and having a good time.
Question.
I think
Going into the
Iggy
North Look.
face plants.
What does the Chewinga look like?
I think it's a flower, but drooping like it needs water.
Oh.
Do I see
Just
the
about
dwarves
right.
having a good time in here? Do I see the dwarves having a good time?
Yes. Yeah, I was about to make you make a perception check, but who cares? Right? I mean, it's like
Go
do
get
you
our
find them
money.
right away, or do you have to walk around for a little while? Like, well, that's fine.
I come up to the one who asked about who got us, hired us for the adventure.
Yeah.
We got your sled. Pay
Uh,
me and come get this thing.
So
Pay us.
yeah. So this is Hruna is the dwarf that hired you, and it's clear that she's had a couple already because it's like 11:30 p.m. Right? So there's a little bit of a taking a moment to blink at you a couple of times and then just say, "Oh, wow, really? You got it?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I notice that they're slightly intoxicated?
Yes. I don't think it's subtle.
Okay, good, great. I go, yeah, those 2 gem pieces worth 50 gold apiece is gonna be worth it. There was a frost giant.
Frost giant.
No, not 2, Jason. 5.
5.
No.
2 apiece.
2 apiece.
Okay.
She kind of squints her eyes at you and then just says, "I'm not that drunk."
Good try.
But here, let's go see this iron.
Can Wilfred have heard him say that?
Sure.
Wilfred will raise his head from where he had sat and lay his head down and said, "There really was a giant."
So she gathers her 2 fellow dwarves, Korax and Storn, and they kind of bundle themselves up to go look at the sled, and they are very pleased to see it returned, and they absolutely say, as promised, this is, they give you each your gem pieces, so you are rewarded as a party with 5 50 gold piece gemstones.
Well, pass
And-
those around.
And she says, "And don't forget, you now have the thanks of the dwarves of Icewind Dale, and that means 10% off every purchase at Black Iron Blades here in Bryn Shander. So, if you need to stock up for your next task, although, if you don't mind me saying so, looks like your next task is going to be getting some rest."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
do you? I do ask. Now, do you run Black Iron Blades, or is it just another one of your kin?
Oh, no, it's a friend of the family, you might say.
Okay. Before I go off to bed and pass out, there is a smithy there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like he makes his own stuff. That's what he sells, is what he's made. But this iron that you rescued is gonna go to him. That's why the discount is part of that, after all. It's due for his shop.
That's
Um,
once I don't feel like death, I'll definitely want to go talk to them and look for some things.
Sure. So I want everyone to make a perception check and make it with disadvantage, those of you who have at least one level of exhaustion.
Let me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
13.
4.
I'm
Oh
pretty
no,
sure-
sorry, 3.
9.
5. Yeah.
Okay, so 13
17?
was... Oh, 17?
Yeah.
Okay,
Listen.
Yeah.
The
So-
mark of the Sentinel is amazing.
yeah. So what you notice, Rowan, is that even though, like, most of the people here are minding their own business, doing their own thing, there's a few that'll eavesdrop when it sounds like, oh, some adventurers have completed a deal and they're getting paid. People are interested in that, right? But what you actually notice is not like people eyeing your pocketbooks or anything like that, but rather what you notice is every time she's like, oh yeah, and you'll get the discounted black iron blades, there's people like snickering into their beers.
Oh well. At least we got paid.
I sigh softly. Will we get a discount?
Of course, I said you would.
And if I mention your name at Black Iron Blades,
Yeah? I'll walk over and knock on his door right now, although I don't think waking him up in the middle of the night is the best way to keep your discount.
okay.
But yeah,
How about-
this iron's due for his shop. He's going to be grateful.
And so you're going to be delivering this iron tomorrow?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Well, I would like to accompany you while you deliver.
Well, of course, sure.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to be getting up, not like, in another time we might have said sunup, but I would say not sunup, if you follow me. So
Yeah.
maybe sunup.
I'll make sure I'm there.
Yeah. All right. So, is everyone else kind of just procuring rooms and so on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
2 levels of exhaustion. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know the drill. Food, hot drink, and sleep.
Sure. Yeah. So, more to the point, when Haruna says "sun up" here, what she means essentially is 10 a.m. when there's going to be a little bit of twilight, right, for a few hours. So, yeah. So everyone, everyone gets their respective rooms, and unless anyone is doing any other kind of specific business, we can just go ahead and advance the clock again.
Yeah.
All right. Moving the calendar right along.
And
Right along.
And okay, so everyone gets a successful long night's rest. And here's the other thing. You've now completed a side quest, and you get to level up, level 3.
oh,
Hey!
yay!
Yeah.
Oh god.
I finally get the meta magic that I've been been built this character
Yeah.
for.
So, Rowan, would you have told anyone else about your, the snickering you heard?
Yes.
Okay, so I think...
Explain why I was getting up to go with them to Black Iron Blades.
Sure. Does anyone, ask about it, or is the plan just to go ahead and do that?
Do we know the bartender here, right?
You know what? Here's the thing. Make a history check with advantage, just because I think this is something you might actually know, Rowan.
Oh, nat 20.
Oh, really? Okay, so we'll have to briefly retcon any question you might have had about this. You know full well that the reason that there was snickering is not because you're not likely to get this discount, but just because Black Iron Blades doesn't necessarily have the best reputation in terms of making like quality goods. Like, let me be clear. You can buy a sword there and it will be a sword, and it's not going to be like mechanically it's going to fall apart or something like that. It's more just a matter of it has a reputation of being like mediocre blacksmithing and that sort of thing. And in fact, there's
It's-
kind of a running joke about it about every time you hear a story about some newcomer to Icewind Dale who gets himself killed in some stupid way, the punchline is almost always, and he was carrying a black iron blade to boot, as though like he didn't know better than to have something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to be clear, you know, you can buy weapons there and they're fine. It's just like, you know, people here in town that are snobs about it think that's not a good place.
Okay. that's neither. That's yeah, it affects things a little bit, but that just means I'm not going to be like, well,
You probably don't care that much about watching the iron get delivered or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything there that I want.
Though I am interested in maybe potentially finding some new armor or a better bow.
Well, you all have some cash to spend now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have gems to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or-
They're not terribly expensive. They shouldn't be that hard to change in.
Yeah. One thing that I'll just kind of toss out as a reminder, not that it's necessarily something you need to go do or pressing at all, but you do recall when Wilfred, we were asking the town speaker in Tourmaline about like who in 10 towns knows how to deal with ghosts. He did say that of anybody in 10 towns, the person he thinks would probably know the most is the priest at the House of the Morning Lord in Brinchander.
Ah,
Yeah. So I only
Okay.
mention that just because, like, you're here, not because you have actually any pressing need to go there. I'm just mentioning it
yeah.
as a reminder because it was last session.
Yeah.
All right. So you have all had one long night's rest. What do you want to get up to today? Oh, you're all doing your level 3. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to wait until Tasha's the new book comes out to determine what my pact boon is going to be.
Okay. I mean, if you want to pick something now and then decide if there's something you like better in the book, we can switch it. That's fine.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I'm still torn between the pseudo dragon and the unending armory of shadow blades.
Yeah, I think that let's have you pick something for now, and then we'll
Okay.
talk about how to switch it if something comes out that you like better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little left out in the dragon department. I'm going to take the pact of the chain and have my
Okay.
pseudo dragon.
All right, so you know what? That just makes me realize that I could have done more preparation in terms of what each of you actually get at level 3 so as to incorporate it into the story, because that at least requires a scene, right?
Yeah.
But so let's see. So Marcher, you're getting meta magic.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Ollie, you take your vow at this level, don't
Yes. Yes, I do.
you? Okay. So you know what? Give me a moment. Is everyone updating in D&D Beyond? How
Yes.
about
Yeah.
this? How about this? Let's call for a quick bio break for anyone who needs it. And everyone can just take a moment. But what I'm going to be doing is looking at everybody's new stuff just to sort of plan out what some of these, what, if any of them, seem like they need a scene to kind of explore.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm perfectly fine if mine doesn't have a scene because
Mm-hmm.
it's not a huge thing.
Sure. Um, you're just you're doing your fighter's archetype, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Champion.
Okay. Oh yeah. So like that's I mean got some cool stuff, but it's nothing that's like super like story heavy.
Yeah.
It's just you are more fighty.
Yeah. I I always love hearing when Paladin's Oath is done and actually done.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
All right. So
Perfect.
all right. So yeah. So I think as yeah. And so let's see. Rowan, you got primeval awareness.
Yeah, my I'm just looking at the different archetypes for Ranger right now because I get that as well.
Okay. Ah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so here's the thing. Like I think that it's fun to go ahead and like talk through this stuff, right?
Yeah,
So I think it's totally okay for us to kind of go meta for a little bit, and if you guys want to talk through some of those choices or whatever, that's fine. But yeah, just so that we don't have dead air while everyone's just looking at stuff, right?
Yeah.
no, you're fine.
All right.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at my spell list because I get to pick a new one, and I'm going to take Hex off because I've never used it.
Well, you have the Hexblade's Curse, which it feels in some way is like different than the Hex spell, but
Yeah.
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 There's some things that you can do with Eldritch Invocations if you have the Hex spell, which is one of the reasons I took it.
Right.
But that's at higher level than I am right now, so I figured I'd go ahead and take it off. But I've got other stuff.
All right. So you're okay. All right. So I think would definitely give you a scene for that pact boon, and then I think Paladin Oath is worthy of a scene too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Ranger archetype maybe depends on kind of like what you're picking. I would have to kind of see what it is how to decide how to do that. Meta magic is like I mean it's certainly fun and useful from a perspective, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it needs. I don't think it needs a scene.
yeah. And then yeah, okay. So let's if you're pretty sure on that Pact of the Chain for
Yeah.
Iggy, then I think we can do a scene on that.
Okay.
I think that as you are laying in bed, you know, in your room there at the North Look, resting, you find your dreams turning like not like so like dark and strange, but not altogether in a scary way, right? There's a little bit more of a feeling like some of the things that you sometimes dream about when you close your eyes at night are things that you know are from your past and are kind of very upsetting to think about. And you kind of sometimes relive those in your dreams. But in this particular case, what you're feeling during this dream is those same sorts of events, but there's a little bit of a feeling like instead of feeling any sort of a pain or anguish about them like you might normally, there's a sense that there is someone there with you, reassuring you that this is for the best, right? Like understanding that sometimes it can be hard to let go of what you were, but that you have the potential within you to be more than you ever were. Instead of feeling reduced, you should feel that you are being redirected and that you will still do great things as long as you can follow the new path being laid out for you. And as this part of the dream begins to, to shape, and like you get to the point where your other dreams usually would have you gasp awake. And instead now you are in a formless void, but you can see the sword just floating above you. And the two of you are kind of illuminated in the purple glow from the crystal you found. And the crystal sort of orbits around the sword, and you hear its voice in your head saying, "You have done well, and you deserve to be rewarded. The power you have seen so far is only a taste of what you and I can do together if we stay on the same path. Mm-hmm. You will be granted a minion, a creature to serve your will as you serve mine. Its will, its life, its existence are yours. Use them to serve our purposes, and you will be great." And the sword rises up and rotates as though it's like its point is towards you, and it zooms forward, like stabbing into your chest. But instead of feeling like you've been stabbed with a sword, it's warm in you, and you feel the energy crackling out throughout all your limbs and your fingers. And then you find your hands coming together, and this energy flows out through your fingers into your cupped hands until you're holding a sphere of light that gradually fades out and resolves into a tiny purple pseudo-dragon, which looks up at you, and its eyes flare with the same purple as that crystal. And then you realize that you are awake, not in bed, kneeling in the center of the floor of your room, and you are actually holding this pseudo-dragon, which just looks up at you. What would you have me do?
For now, nothing. We need rest.
Understood. I can't wait to get started. All right. So
now I have two things that talk in my head. This is going to be.
Yeah.
This is going to be.
I mean, people can.
Interesting.
Yeah. So here's a quick question for you to just think about, though, right? Because the pseudo dragon. Okay, never mind. I was thinking of a fairy dragon, which is different. So I was about to say the fairy dragons can just sort of naturally turn invisible. This one doesn't, but nonetheless, people are gonna see it, right? It's not like just a sword, which people wouldn't think anything of. You do now have a tiny little dragon. Tell us what he looks like, or is it a he even?
I think he is fine.
And you can name him as well.
Yeah, well, that's going to take some thought and give some thought to that. So I think like I said, he's little. He's about yay big, all curled up. Just enough to fit into the hood of a jacket if he wanted to hide, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I like the idea of the glowing purple eyes like the Psy Crystal. Did he come from the Psy Crystal?
No, not directly so much as like you don't believe that it's a case of like you have him because you have the Psy Crystal, so much as the sword is pleased that you have the Psy Crystal, and that's
Okay.
part of what has inspired this reward.
Okay. But I think in deference, no, maybe not. Maybe he is just this a tiny little reddish purple dragon with the crystal purple eyes, and so he can curl up and travel in my hood, kind of like the Chewinga does with Wilfred, traveling on his hood. And he just looks like a tiny little dragon.
Very nice. All right, so also in another room there at the North Look, Ale. So is the oath that you've added in your D&D Beyond the one that you want?
Oath of Vengeance, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that you find that I think this probably happened. So does Ale like pray to Bahamut in any
yes.
kind of a ritual way? Like when would you normally do that? What does that look like?
He's done that ever since he got called. It's usually before he goes to bed. It's like kneeling next to the bed and casting his mind towards the great dragon, and it almost like a out of character Catholic sort of like upbringing sort of thing, like, and just praying for guidance, strength, and what he should do next, and which kind of like drew out into the snow a couple of sessions back.
Yeah, yeah. So as you are praying on this particular evening, and I think that there's a moment where you're so exhausted, right? There's a flash of a thought in your head of you just want to get into bed.
I can do that tomorrow. I'm neutral good, not lawful good. So yeah, the temptation, like, yeah, I can do that tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. So I think there's a moment where you consider it sort of with like, there's a fantasy of like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to just go ahead and lay down and go to sleep instead of doing this? But you resist that temptation. You kneel, you begin your prayer. And in a way that has only happened once or twice in all your journeys, you find your heart swelling with the sense of presence. And you realize that you have made choices in your journey that mean things, and you are serving the will of Bahamut, bringing good to the world, seeking out evil and destroying it when you can, but also recognizing that there is not only evil in the world, and showing the wisdom to understand when some things are called, violence might be called for, but also knowing that it is not always called for. Understanding when, but when it is called for, having the courage for it to be you to do it and not waiting only for others. knowing when to strike and being able to strike when you need to. And
To be the sword.
yes. And it is required of you now. Your own decisions have led you to this point. And it is not something that would be asked of just anyone, even other followers of Bahamut. But it is essentially realizing spiritually, intuitively, that you stand at a threshold. And it is not required of you that you walk through. But if you do, there will be a narrower path to follow. And if you choose to take that path, then you must walk it. And that path requires you to take an oath. And the voice that sounds like a lot of different voices speaking together, but you can understand it extremely well. And you are asked, when faced with a choice of fighting your sworn foes or combating a lesser evil, will you always fight the greater evil?
I will always fight the greater evil.
When there is an opportunity to slay your sworn enemies, even if they ask for mercy, you must not give it.
The ordinary enemies might win my mercy, but my sworn enemies will not.
There may be times when things that you would otherwise not do or shy away from, actions may be required in order to eliminate your sworn enemies. Do you swear to seek them out and exterminate them by any means necessary?
I swear my qualms cannot get in the way of exterminating my foes.
If your foes wreak havoc or ruin on the world, it is because you have not stopped them. And restitution is required for those failures. Do you swear to help those harmed by the misdeeds of your sworn enemies?
I swear that I must help any and all those harmed by the misdeeds of my enemies that I have failed to stop.
Aule, you kneel now, a paladin. Name your sworn enemy, and then rise.
Well, it's got to be the Frostmaiden, hasn't it? She's the one that's destroying this world, so she is my enemy.
All right. So, you feel like you're not literally seeing this with your eyes, but you sense that this threshold that you were standing before is now open to you. And purely in this abstract sense, you are free to step through.
And so he does, without hesitation.
All right. And you realize that you are still kneeling in prayer, but you understand that what you just experienced is not merely real, but perhaps the most important thing you've ever done in your life. Just chose to swear vengeance on a demigod, sure, no problem.
Yes, I did.
Technically not even a demigod, just an actual straight up god. So, yeah.
Ollie's intelligence
Yeah.
is not high.
Well, hey. Yeah. I mean, it means your sworn enemies is the Frostmaiden and those who serve her, yeah? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Honestly,
I
I
mean,
feel
he
like
was brought here to deal with this, so yeah, it's yeah. There's no way around it.
well, I mean, well, what happens when your actions cause your sworn enemy to change their path completely to to a path of less destruction, or a path of no destruction, or
Ordinary foes may win my mercy, but my sworn enemies do not.
yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
think you could recognize that if someone had once served the Frostmaiden but is genuinely changed, that's maybe more complicated.
That's maybe more complicated, but yeah.
But yeah, it would be the burden wouldn't be on them to prove that they're better now.
Oaths, oaths are a serious thing for paladins. None of them are easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Rowan, are you confident with your chosen archetype?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just looking at it real quick. And you chose, yeah, Hunter, and then the Colossus Slayer. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think that this is not necessarily a full scene in quite the same way that that they had, because it's not mystical necessarily in the same way. But I think that you maybe do have just a moment in your rest where maybe it's just reflecting back on, seeing the frost giant and that mysterious figure out on the distance, and just the adventures that you've had of late are different than the sorts of guide jobs that you've taken before. And you feel as though there is a, just as with an iceberg, how most of it is below the surface. You feel like this new potential rising within you that has shown itself in these latest jobs is just the beginning of something much bigger, and that you will be called upon to do things you never thought possible. But at least for right now, you feel confident that you will be able to rise to the occasion. And then, sure, why not? It seems unfair to leave Wilfred and Marcher out for these little mini scenes here. Wilfred, I think that maybe, without wanting to necessarily tell you how Wilfred feels. Oh, go ahead.
I, over the battles and everything, Wilfred's been, when Wilfred fights, he's not like a wildly swing or anything. His swings are like, you can almost see math going through his head as he calculates how much force and what direction, everything. And in his kind of exhausted sleep, he a a vision almost of a slightly different way of fighting comes up. And in the morning he comes, and he's not exactly fresh, but he's a lot better than before. And he's like out in behind the inn, and he's basically doing exercises, smacking a post or some other target he find, and just changing up his style a bit.
Nice. All right. So, Marcher, do you have thoughts on this, or would you like me to just kind of improvise how you're feeling about?
I've been going back and I'm trying to pick out, because I'd get a second level spell now. So I've been kind of picking out which one that's going to be. And it tends to be a little iconic, at least for a little while, for a character, for a sorcerer, because you only get the one spell, right? Every time um, so um, I think he he's has trouble sleeping. There's something inside him that he doesn't quite understand, something formless, and he just can't stay to sleep. So he gets up and he walks around and he goes out the gate and just kind of feels the wind blowing past him. He pulls down his hood and takes off his gloves and just feels the wind cutting through him. And he lets it flow instinctively, because sorcerers are instinctive characters. Just on instinct, lets it flow, and the wind rises all of a sudden, and he suddenly there's a tremendous gust of wind. The snow is blown up around him, and when it comes back down, he's not there. He's over there, and he learns Misty Step.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and I think part of what happens too as you discover this new, gosh, I was about to use it, ultra geeky organic chemistry term.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's like it's your new valence level of especially of your magic. I mean, it's kind of appropriate. I mean, spell levels are already kind of like that.
Yeah.
But I think part of what you recognize too, standing there, feeling the magic channeling through you, is I think there's a recognition that there are a lot of people in this world who know a lot about magic, but most people think of magic as something that works in just one way. If you know a spell, you know how to cast it, and there are rules for how it works, and it casts the same way every time. But you are feeling a rising certainty in you that that's just not true. The rules of the world are there on the surface, and perhaps it's the path of least resistance to believe that they are immutable laws. But you are sensing the potential within yourself that with a little insight and a little persistence, there are places where you can slip out of that labyrinth and run along the top.
Okay.
And your meta magic is certainly some of those places where you can start to change that, but you sense that's only the beginning.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about taking spells and just because we've already talked about this. I'm going to focus on cold magic, and I have my eye on the elemental adept feat at 4th level. But taking versions of spells that are in the book, but just switching the element to cold.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, that'll probably be happening.
Yeah.
I can just imagine a lightning bolt and only cold. It's like just a stream of icicles.
So,
Glacial bolt.
you know what? And so I think just because I think it's fun, I'll say that all of you with this special insight find that your one long rest is enough to clear all your levels of exhaustion.
Yay!
Yay! Our
And-
DM is
and-
so kind.
and you intuitively recognize somehow that some special epiphany of transformative event occurred last night, and that won't always happen every time you get exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we need to time our exhaustion
Yeah.
to where we're leveled up.
All right. So though, now that you are rested, feeling a little tougher,
Have been paid.
yeah.
Paid.
So I think as you're coming down, Ale, you are definitely just feeling like almost just like a tingle in your brain still from
Oh, yeah.
everything that you experienced.
I had a contact with the god. Yeah, that doesn't go away.
Yeah, and you know what you have sworn to do. And as you're coming down to the common room where you can maybe get some breakfast, what you hear someone is saying is like, "Oh, I heard Torque's Caravan is in town."
Oh boy. Oh,
And
boy.
and the thing is, it you feel in your heart, like, you know, just this zero in. It's like that person is briefly like highlighted, and you hear what they say with a like preternatural clarity.
My companions are going to be very interested to hear that. But I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go engage with the people. I mean, this yet. I'm
Yeah.
going.
So those
stop it.
two people are talking about it in the sense of like, oh yeah, I got a good a good pack from them last time they came through. So they're just talking about it like they're going to go buy stuff.
So I'll get breakfast and then I'll pass by. So and then casually drop into the conversation. So Torque is a good trader in these parts.
So the so Paul, you recognize the reference, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah, okay.
Ali's trying to play it cool here.
Right, yeah. So it's Torg's Caravan, but the leader there is actually named Torga. So Torga Icevein was the dwarven
Right.
leader of the caravan. But I only question that because it sounded a little bit like
No. Ali's trying to say casually get information, whereas
okay.
Ali is thinking, "Oh, we're gonna kill that undead now."
Yeah. Okay, so I think that they just say, oh well, you know, I mean, like you don't get so many caravans coming through anymore.
Right, so where are
any
they
of
set
them
up?
that come through, you know, like I mean, it's worth paying attention to. But yeah, like they tend to have a lot of good stuff.
So where are they set up? I could use some more gear.
I think they're outside the east gate.
Thank you for letting me know. My companions will also be interested in getting some better gear. Thanks. And go back to breakfast and wait for the other four. Tell them the fun news.
Yeah. Wilfred comes in, energized from his practice and ready for a good breakfast. And yeah, beeline for all.
We have business to do.
We do.
The caravan is in town.
The caravan?
Remember the caravan?
I'm assuming we're gonna handle it a little differently than last time.
But we must handle it.
Yes.
I must handle it. If no one else will, I must handle him. But I hope all of you will join me.
You have been good luck. I will stay with you.
Yeah. I think probably about that time Ig stumbles down and you see the little purple dragon curled up around his neck or their neck.
Iggy? Who's your new friend?
I haven't thought of a name yet. But we'll see.
I take it he's the same color as her arcane bolts.
Yeah. More or less.
But yeah, so this
I
little dragon
see.
is just riding along, and it seems very bright and alert, looking to each of you carefully.
Mhm.
Passively but interested.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right, and I'll
How's
go
our
ahead
ranger
and-
doing? Where is our ranger?
I come down and I see everyone's gathered. I'm like, must have slept longer than I had intended. Actually, is it before 10?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, unless you feel like, because you magically slept through all your exhaustion, it's yeah.
Um, so yeah, I look around and I see everyone's gathered here, but do I see the dwarves?
Um, do you want to see the dwarfs? I mean, I think that you're. I don't know that they're necessarily down here, but like if you wanted to find them, you could. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you got in mind?
Well, I did have an intention to go check out for some weapons.
Okay, yeah,
Black Iron Blades, but I'll meet with my folks first.
sure.
So I see you all made it before me. Did something get you excited? We had a long day yesterday.
I I think I had some
I'll
inspiration this night.
Why don't you tell him?
The caravan is back in town.
Oh,
Yes. And I hope you will join me in dealing with that entity. I had a conversation with the god last night, and my path inevitably will have me deal with that undead and as well as other entities that are plaguing this land.
well, I don't necessarily like being branded as a person who starts fights, so I owe them a little bit, yeah.
But we are going to do this more intelligently than last time.
Let us hope.
Let us
That's
hope.
not
yes.
a particularly low. That's not a particularly high bar to clear.
Let's-
Probably find out where they're staying.
They are near the east gate, I've been told.
all right.
I think
far-
Iggy, in your head, you hear the tiny little voice say, "I could fly out and see where they are."
That sounds like a great idea.
I mean, technically, I still need to be within 100 feet of you to be able to still communicate, or
Yeah,
I could.
no, but
I
I'll
could
wander
fly-
out that way.
Yeah. So, just like the rules, obviously, are in the spell and everything. I think technically you could send them further out and then have them come back, but but they you can only stay and like see through their senses when they're within 100 feet.
I will come with you.
Right.
Also, technically, I've kind of already established that it can talk. I don't think that I'm just trying. I'm not sure if that's default or my invention.
I think it can talk to me.
It can communicate telepathically, which is not the same thing as saying that it has language. But,
Limited telepathy pseudo-dragon can magically communicate simple ideas, emotions, or images telepathically with any creature within 100 feet
yeah,
that can
okay.
understand the language.
Yeah, so we can loosely say that like when I've had it speaking, it's technically it's communicating like simple ideas with you non-verbally.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's fine. It's good. Yeah, it understands but common but doesn't speak it.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, so it I think perhaps sent you just a little bit mental image of flying around outside.
Mm-hmm. But still, nevertheless, that is a great idea.
Perhaps when we do have this encounter, we try and separate the specific individual
From
the group.
From the others, yes.
Yes. And maybe I think I need to have a talk with someone at the House of the Morning Lord if we can hold off on the encounter until after that.
Why so?
That thing tracks it. I mean, sound like a ghost, and who better to ask about fighting a ghost than a priest?
One additional thing I'll just ask in a meta sense is that we're coming up on 10 o'clock. I just want to check in with everyone to see if everyone's kind of ready to look for a stopping point, or if everyone's
Yeah,
wants to keep
I'd
going.
rather not go into a fight this late in the session.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we want to wrap it up here, or maybe we could do the House of the Morning Lord first? What do
Yep,
you-
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So are you all heading over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if we're gonna scout out the east gate and see what's going on, then
I mean, it's
that's
practically
in
on
the
the
general
way.
right direction.
Right? You know?
Yeah.
All right. Do.
Walls of the Crimson King.
All right. So, as you are making your way over there, located near Bryn Shander's Northeast Market Square, this is a modest converted house that serves as a gathering place for worshippers of the Morning Lord. But does anyone have religion as a proficient skill?
I do not. I actually do not, which
I
is
mean, that's-
hilarious.
Not necessarily. I mean, paladin. It's not like cleric.
I'm much more
exactly.
the hitty paladin than the praying paladin.
Yeah. So no one has religion.
No.
Oh, Bahamut, bless these people who I'm about to smite.
Yes.
That's fine. Okay, so yeah, so this is clearly like it was just a house, but it's converted into kind of a sanctuary and shrine for there. Let's see, it's basically like a sun logo, and as you make your way in there, you see that at this time of day. There is, hang on. Okay, yeah. So what you see is that there is some kind of a service just getting out. So people are coming out, and then if you look in there, there's basically just after service kind of cleanup work being done. Putting out some candles and sweeping up a little bit. And so you see a human woman, middle-aged, and she's in fancy robes, and then she's also kind of exchanging what looks like low-grade bickering exchanges with a gnome who is wearing a very bizarre outfit that basically it is like it's probably very warm. It's this fuzzy sort of head to toe. Okay, those pajamas that like the footy pajamas with the hood that with the ears on it. Like he's wearing a teddy bear suit essentially. Like there's no like it's just open to the face, so there's not like a bear face, but there's little bear ears sticking out, and the rest of it is just like fuzzy head to toe little suit. But she seems to be telling him that he agreed to do the cleanup after this session, and he needs to honor his agreements, and seems just grumpy about it. But at the same time, like the energy of their bickering it's like they've had this exact argument 500 times. You know what I mean? It's not like there's sort of a weary resignation on both sides.
The bear suit that that gives the wearer a bear face, but not a bear face.
Ah, yeah.
So Wilker will walk in and just kind of approach, and stand off respectfully, wait to be acknowledged.
So as soon as she sees you, the woman approaches and just says, "Greetings and Amanotter's blessing to you. I don't believe I've seen you here before. Are you new to Brinchander?"
Fairly new, yes. I passed through here a time before, but my stay was brief. How familiar? I have a question about ghosts. About a possible encounter with a ghost.
Ah, well, certainly these are encounters that one would hope to never have. Generally, the undead, of course, are frequently an abomination and generally are sad creatures at best, and certainly can be quite dangerous. What questions do you have?
Well, it was. It wasn't by itself. It was possessing a kobold, and gave it a rather eloquent speech, and uh, and abilities that seem far removed from what you would expect. And I was wondering that the kobold seemed to have a particular satchel. It seemed to be wearing a particular satchel, and after a while, the kobold went back to behaving normally, and the satchel disappeared. And I feel like there's a connection there.
Well, it is certainly true that ghosts are capable of possessing living creatures through a battle of will, and it is something that, generally speaking, a ghost will do in order to try to carry out whatever its sense of unfinished business may be. Now, it's important when we use a phrase like unfinished business, it's important to understand that ghosts are not like mortal creatures, and their logic and understanding of the world is not the same as ours, and therefore what they see as their unfinished business may not make any sense to us. But generally speaking, they have some action or location or possession that they feel tied to in some way. And when a ghost chooses to possess a living creature, often it is in an attempt to serve that purpose in some way. I can't imagine what would inspire a ghost to possess a kobold, but as I just mentioned, frequently the logic of a ghost might not make sense to the living.
I think the logic is somewhat easy since apparently the possession happened after the kobold entered a cave out in the wilderness. And the kobold and the ghost in the kobold brought the group it was with to Tourmaline.
You mentioned a satchel. What was it about the satchel?
Kobolds sometimes occasionally have like pouches and such, but this was worked leather. It was old, threadbare, but not. But it looked like it would have belonged with someone like us.
So not something you would expect a kobold to have.
No.
I see. Well, it is quite possible ghosts, when they are tied to the material plane in some way, frequently are attached to either a location or an object. And so it is possible that the ghost's tie to the material plane is that satchel. If that is the case, then probably the only way to lay the ghost to rest would be to destroy the satchel.
Is there a particular method of destruction?
I would imagine simple burning should suffice.
Burn.
Although, to be certain, the ghost would oppose this.
Of course. I if I encounter I an individual possessed by the ghost again and recognized as such, I'm sure that it won't necessarily be a peaceful encounter.
Well, do be cautious. If you do not have those among you with divine magics, ghosts can be deadly to combat.
Yes, I, I, a member of my party has an ability to detect undead. If only he had
Well,
recognized it.
that should come in at least somewhat handy. At least it would give you some ability to detect if a person is indeed possessed.
Yes, he is a paladin, so
Good. So at this point, is everyone else kind of just standing back?
Yeah,
Yeah, listening in.
Sure.
Listening by giving him his space.
So this little gnome in the teddy bear suit is he's half-assed sweeping the floor, but he's kind of sweeping his way over to you guys, and then when he's a little close, he sort of whispers up to you and says, "Hey, you all adventurers?"
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if you might if you're I don't know where you're all headed to, but if you end up making your way up north of Ten Towns, I've got a friend in a cabin up there. By the way, my name's Copper Knobberknocker. But my friend Macretus is kind of holed up in a cabin up there. I'm a little worried about him, but it's kind of dangerous getting up there. I don't know if you're heading that way.
Where did you say he was?
He's in a little cabin. It would be north of Tourmaline and Lonelywood, kind of on the other end of the forests up there.
We had planned to go up that direction anyways. There's that white moose.
Yes.
Well, if you find yourself in that area, I could point it out on the map for you, and if you could just check in on him, make sure he's okay. He's a researcher and he's doing a lot of interesting work up there. But I haven't heard from him in a little while. I'm a little worried.
What does he research?
Well, I'm a tinkerer myself, so, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? But I think he found some sort of a device that he's studying. I don't really know that much about it because it's like, when you find something really good, you don't like really want to tell anyone about it until you know what you're talking about. And so I don't know if he got that far.
Okay. Well, if we can find him, we'll certainly take a look and see how he's doing. Let him know you're thinking about him.
All right. And so I'll have him. Let me just briefly show you the Icewind Dale map, and I'll mark the location of that. So I put a little diamond here on the. So north of there. So that is where he says the cabin is.
Okay, cool.
So it's not exactly on the way to anywhere, but that's, and he just says, so like, I don't really have anything, like to give you for it, but I don't know who else to ask, right?
Yeah. Well, one good turn deserves another. So let's see if we can pay this forward.
All right.
Remember that we have an errand in East Haven.
Yeah. So so it may be a couple of days before we can.
Oh, sure.
Get up there.
He's been up there already for weeks, and so gosh, I hope that he's fine. So If he's fine, then a couple of days doesn't make any difference. And I don't know any other reason. I just haven't heard from him. Is all.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, just thought I'd mention it. By the way, your friend up there, like, yes, she's gonna go on all day if you let her. Like, she likes to lecture. So
He is,
Well,
and he
but-
is fascinated by such things.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
she has found a willing listener.
Yeah.
all right. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, if you guys wanted to go and get a drink or something, like, she'll be going on for a while as long as he keeps nodding his head.
Like,
Just saying, like, I don't want to speak ill of her, like she, I mean, I'm doing chores here for room and board, but well, it's just not a bad place to live. But I'm just saying, I'm letting you guys know as a favor.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. One thing Wilfred would have made clear is that, you guys, if you follow, you don't have to stay. Just, basically have there be a chain of, let him know that, let Copper know that that you guys are moving on to the next task for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little dragon will bounce on your head a couple of times to let you know we're going, and
Yeah. So
then we'll be out.
What I will say what I will say in a meta sense from Wilfred's talking to she introduces herself eventually as Mishan. She is actually a retired adventurer herself. And before she became the priest of this particular shrine, and in particular, what comes up a little bit out of this whole thing is that even though a lot of people in the Forgotten Realms would hear Morning Lord and think it's Lathander, she actually serves Aminator, which she claims to be the real Morning Lord, and that it's a bastardization of the worshippers of Lathander, that they started trying to call him the Morning Lord. He's not actually the Morning Lord. Aminator is a god of the sun. He gets to be the Morning Lord. Lathander is a whole other thing. Why does he get to be the Morning Lord? It's really actually... it's frustrating. You shouldn't confuse the two, and it's just like a pain. But because she serves a god of the sun, she is obviously very invested in wanting to try to eliminate this current curse from the Frostmaiden.
Right.
But
And what was
that's
her name again?
Mishan, Mishann. And what I'll tell you in a meta sense is that she can inform Wilfred about just about anything that you would know about ghosts from reading, like, the Monster Manual.
Okay.
But she doesn't know anything about this specific ghost, though.
Yeah. That information is basically what Wilfred's looking for. And
Yeah.
he is a trained listener to
Sure.
some form
Right.
to any form of scholarly.
So what I'll say is, without having to role-play the whole conversation,
Okay.
I'll say she can tell Wilfred just about anything about ghosts that would be in, like, the Monster Manual.
And so basically just a closing shot of Wilfred standing very attentively listening to her speak.
Right. So how long is everyone else just hanging out after talking with Copper?
I think 5 more minutes, and then we'll bounce the dragon and
Yeah.
head on out.
Okay. Have fun.
All right. So Wilfred's staying behind to hear
Yeah, I
more
think
about
both
this.
of
All
them.
right. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't know that you guys were planning to just go and rush Sefik right now.
No,
That was
we're
a
gonna
bad
do much
idea.
Better this time.
Yeah. All right. So I think if you are kind of heading towards the East Gate, like, do you at some point, Iggy, do you send your pseudo dragon just like to fly over and test out your connection?
Yeah.
And are you telling us you're doing this?
Yeah.
So we
it's
know
like-
to stop so you can do your
Yeah. So I'll
Connection
say,
with
all
the-
right, I think we're close enough.
close enough for what?
We're going to test something. I believe that I have a telepathic connection to my new little friend here, and he can go scout for us.
And I would imagine when you say my little friend here, you kind of like make eye contact with him, and he nods at
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
So I think with sort of your mental direction, he takes off from your shoulder and flies up into the air, flying over the walls of the East Gate. And you find, with sort of just like a mental desire to do so, that you can see through his eyes as he flies up over the walls. And sure enough, you see recognizable sleds and, carts and everything, that you recognize from encountering this caravan before is there. And sure enough, as you fly over, there's the dwarf and the dwarves helping, and sure enough, they're standing there in his short sleeves, is Sefik, and Sefik does kind of he's sort of standing there just watching over everything, and there's a moment where he looks up and he clearly sees the pseudo dragon, which is not invisible, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's, but sees him and kind of squints a little bit. But otherwise doesn't seem to take any other action.
Mm-hmm.
Do you direct
Okay.
him to do anything else?
No, because this is pretty much just a reconnaissance flight and to test how
How
far.
How far are they from the city walls?
They're right outside the gate.
Okay.
So technically you guys would be a little bit closer to the wall. But
And how are the walls like patrolled?
no, the walls are not patrolled, and there's not even really anyone guarding the gate. The walls are not about like checkpoints for anyone coming in and out. It's
Right,
more a matter of if an army
army
of
shows up.
orcs were to run through, it's for protecting the town in that circumstance. So
Right.
it would be closed up and manned in that case, but they don't like monitor the comings and goings at every gate
Excellent.
all the time.
Okay. I have a plan.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so we'll basically say they are they're just set up like right here. That's
Okay.
not a very good color for.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So,
All right.
anything
So-
else you want to do tonight, or we wait?
I
until
believe
next
our
week?
ranger wanted to go to the armory.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So call my little buddy back, and we'll go shopping for some partially substandard stuff.
Did you want to do that too, Wilfred, or
Oh, is Wilfred still talking to the priest?
well,
Yeah.
I mean, kind of left him there. I think at some point,
I'd
like,
leave him there.
There's not anything that any weapon upgrades that he wants that he
Okay.
could afford.
all right.
So
All right, so you head to Black Iron Blades, and where's my Bryn Shander? There we go. So you head through there, and as you make your way there, it's a combination shop and smithy just north of the main square. Inside, you meet Garn the Hammer, who is a dwarf who manufactures the cheapest blades in 10 towns. And then you see that at the same shop, his sister Elza sells all sorts of other things like adventuring supplies, rations, cold weather gear, ice picks, etc., etc. So basically, you can get here just about anything that would be in like the equipment, standard equipment stuff.
Okay.
And I think as you come in, they kind of light up and just says, "Oh, we were told to expect you. You're the ones that brought back Runa's iron, yes?
Yes,
Yes.
we are.
That's us.
As promised. That's a 10% discount. Friends of the dwarves of Kelvin's Cairn."
So, what type
Ah.
of
I need to replace a dagger because I gave one away.
Sure.
So I'm gonna buy another dagger.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and just let you know that there's no actual specific story-based role play necessary here unless you guys wanted there to be, unless you guys had business or questions or anything. But I'm just saying, like, there's not like an official story beat that you need to hit or something like that. So if you just want to get gear or whatever, you can get it here. And yeah, and like despite sort of the reputation, there's no like mechanical thing of like your sword's gonna break or something like that. It's just
Yeah, because I was actually thinking about getting a chain shirt instead. Because right now, what I'm relying on is just consistently casting mage armor every 8 hours.
and your quickness of foot?
And so I take it when I buy the dagger for 2 gold pieces, I get 2 silver back as the discount.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you get a 10% off whatever the price in the equipment book is.
Yeah.
Although, like, I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, I think I feel like there was actually a rule in this about like all equipment is actually more expensive because it's harder to get from out of town. But I'm not gonna bother with that because I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, well, if they import their own iron and make it here, then it wouldn't be imported.
Well, it's still everything's harder to do though because it's
Yeah.
frozen all the time and it's worse and everyone's harder off and people don't have as much money and everything. So,
Yeah.
okay, wait. So let's see. Yeah, winter. Any item listed in the equipment chapter of Player's Handbook can be bought in 10 towns, including fishing tackle and sleds. The larger the town, the more likely it is to have the item. So yeah, there's not any extra price.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you guys gonna tell the journey to get the iron?
Nah, I don't think it's necessary. We've already been paid.
Or why? Like to let them know it's like. Yeah,
Well, they're
this-
already giving you the discount. Like
Yeah,
that's,
Yeah.
Right.
Nope, can't afford that.
all right.
Well,
So
okay.
I
We'll
think
just
this
rely
is
on
where we'll
spells.
probably call the session to a close. Although to be certain, all of you can decide any of that equipment that you feel like you would want to buy that you can afford with the gold you've got. I'll trust you to just go ahead and handle that. And so I think next week perhaps we implement Kill Sefik 2.0.
Yeah.
And
Eyes
we'll
are in more powerful.
yes, so that'll be exciting. We'll do that next week. And also, just for anyone watching or listening to this, if you check out on Tuesday, the 17th, we'll be debuting session 1 of campaign 2 of So Many Levels.
I
Right
am
here
so looking forward to that.
on this same Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ChristianaEllis. So check us out there. And of course, those episodes will show up in all the same places that this one does. So whether you're watching us on YouTube or on my website, ChristianaEllis.com, or listening to the podcast version, thank you for enjoying our content. And we'll be back next week for more adventure on So Many Levels.
So many levels.
Go Seekers.
Yay.